or more civil lawsuits, but
it's a lot of these are getting thrown out. It's a lot of bogusness.
You know, because the same lawsuit that Busby tried to file against Jay-Z with the 13-year-old girl.
We got to just see how it plays out.
Yeah.
You know, I'm never going to stop being there for someone I consider to be a friend to me.
As you should.
I'm not going to turn my back. And it's like, I've been scrutinized just by being a friend. I guess someone never had a true friend before.
No, man, it's all good. I think you're doing exactly what you're supposed to.
I was offered $30,000 to perform a hit on Biggie Smalls. March 1st of 1997, I was approached by Diddy to perform a hit on one of his artists. Finding out that he wanted all the rights to all his catalogs. I turned him down because I also found out that very night that Biggie had plans of leaving back.
About to get this money. So he showed me, I said, you about to get that money? He said, yeah, look at this. It had Charlie Baltimore, Cameron, Little C's, Lil Kim, Junior Mafia, Tracy, I don't know, Tracy Murray,
Tracy Lee.
Tracy Lee, and the commission. And I think the contract was for so many years for like 62 million. It comes out to like $62 million.
I didn't know anything about them for, this is probably at least a year and a half after, you know, we were together. So I didn't know anything about them. I didn't even think anything about them, to be quite honest.
Particular point in time, this was the time when I'm thinking he fucked Kim's sister.
Okay,
right?
JD.
This is in the music, though.
Okay, in the music, okay.
This is in the music. And she found out about it. So she was upset when she came to the studio about this. And he couldn't really get her to do the rap. And me and Usher was just, you know, we was there, young, watching what's going on, and Big pulled the strap out on her.
On Kim?
Yes.
And to lay the verse? Or just...
to just let her know he was a killer.
Oh my God.
Stevie J just flipped on Diddy. And baby, when I say he sang like a Grammy-winning canary, I mean he let it all out. Just minutes after learning that his name came up in federal court during witness testimony, Stevie turned on Diddy faster than a light switch. And what he's claiming is beyond explosive. According to Stevie, not only was Diddy allegedly involved in taking out Biggie Smalls, but Faith Evans herself told him Biggie knew his life was in danger because Diddy allegedly hired a hitman months before Biggie was killed. And it gets worse. Stevie says Diddy even used young women, including Lil Kim, to try to lure Biggie into a trap. Y'all, this isn't just tea. This is an entire kettle whistling straight into the FBI's office. And guess what? Stevie's singing may have just bought him immunity. So how did a supposed ride or die like Stevie end up snitching in stereo? And what secrets did he drop about Diddy's alleged involvement in murder, manipulation, and Grammy-level grooming? Let's break it all the way down. If you thought the walls were already closing in on Sean Diddy Combs, buckle up, because one of his closest allies just flipped, and the industry is in complete shock. Stevie J, yes, that's Stevie J, the reality TV firestarter, Grammy-winning producer, and longtime member of Diddy's inner circle, was supposed to be a character witness in Diddy's federal trafficking trial. But instead of defending him, Stevie lit the courtroom on fire. According to insiders, the government approached Stevie with the expectation that he'd testify to Diddy's so-called good character, especially during the early bad boy era. You know, back when the image was all champagne, Versace, and platinum records. But what the prosecution got instead was a confessional. Stevie allegedly flipped the script mid-negotiation, delivering what sources are calling damning revelations. The kind of testimony that could blow the case wide open. And here's the kicker. There's talk, serious talk, that federal prosecutors might offer Stevie immunity in exchange for his full cooperation. Let that sink in. The same Stevie J, who practically lived in Diddy's studios, who was there for the late-night parties, the NDA-covered rendezvous, the unspoken rules of that lifestyle, is now being positioned as a key witness against him. The irony is so thick you could cut it with a platinum plaque. 1 minute, you're being called to vouch for your friend. The next, you're recounting stories the defense never wanted aired. What did Stevie say that was so devastating the feds are willing to grant him a free pass? What secrets is he trading for his freedom? Because this wasn't just a betrayal, it was a tactical takedown. And Diddy's camp? They never saw it coming. Now, let's take a step back and talk about what it even means to be a character witness. In legal terms, it's basically someone who shows up and says, hey, this guy, he's decent. I know him. He's not capable of what you're accusing him of. It's a PR tactic wrapped in courtroom procedure, a way to humanize the defendant, to paint him as more misunderstood mogul than predator with a private jet. But here's the problem. When you have to dig into your reality TV Rolodex and pull out Stevie J, of all people, as your moral compass, that's not strategy. That's desperation. And now that Stevie's flipped, Diddy's legal team is officially in meltdown mode. Behind closed doors, sources say his attorneys are scrambling, burning up phones, reworking witness lists, trying to salvage whatever credibility they have left. Because Stevie wasn't just a name. He was supposed to be their proof that the real Diddy was someone worth saving. Even more damning, the silence from Diddy's billionaire besties. People expected Jay-Z to come to his defense. After all, these two have shared stages, investments, and champagne toast for decades. But according to legal insiders, Jay has flat out refused to testify. Not even a character reference. Nothing. Just distance. The same man who once toasted to black excellence with Diddy at Rock Nation brunches is now ghosting his former friend like a bad business deal. And let's be honest, when even Jay-Z won't put his reputation on the line for you, that speaks volumes. Because if there's one thing power players understand, it's when the ship is sinking. And right now, Diddy's legal team is bailing water with a thimble. The witnesses are walking. The co-conspirators are flipping. And the inner circle, they're cracking like glass under pressure. The courtroom hasn't even gone to trial yet. And already, Diddy's defense looks more like a house of cards than a fortress. This isn't just damage control. This is the beginning of a collapse. But here's where things take a darker turn. Because once Stevie J flipped, the feds didn't just thank him for his cooperation. They started peeling back his layers too. You see, when the government starts sniffing around, nobody gets a free pass. Not even the so-called loyal ones. Especially not when your fingerprints are all over the very same parties, the same jets, the same alleged victims. Sources close to the investigation say Stevie didn't flip out of some newfound moral awakening. He flipped because the heat was closing in on him too. Classic move. Save yourself before the ship sinks. He saw the iceberg coming, and rather than drown next to Diddy, he grabbed the nearest lifeboat and started singing like a canary. Because let's be real, Stevie J has never exactly been a model citizen. The public knows him as the wild card from Love and Hip Hop, the womanizer, the chaos agent. But behind the scenes, the whispers are louder. Connections to parties that didn't allow phones. Rumors of NDAs. Footage that allegedly features him and Diddy engaging in disturbing behavior. And now the feds are saying, let's take a closer look. And just like that, any illusion of loyalty goes out the window. Because in the world of federal investigations, the motto is simple. Talk now or be taken down later. Stevie chose to talk. And once he did, the dominoes didn't just start to fall. They started to crash. No one is safe when the feds get involved. There are no friends, no brothers, no bad boy family. Just people trying to avoid a cell and maybe, just maybe, keep their names off the front page. If Stevie J's betrayal was the spark, Lil Rod's lawsuit was the explosion. It didn't just expose Diddy. It dragged everyone orbiting his empire into the blast zone. And what made it hit harder? Lil Rod used to admire Stevie J, called him a mentor, looked up to him, thought Stevie was the blueprint for success in the industry, until he realized the blueprint was rotten to the core. According to the bombshell lawsuit, Diddy didn't just groom people with promises of power. He weaponized his inner circle. He'd dangle Grammys, industry access, celebrity connections like bait. And Stevie J allegedly played a key role in it all. Lil Rod's legal team claims there's explicit footage, yes, video, involving Diddy and Stevie J. And it wasn't just some personal indulgence. That footage, the parties, the drugs, they were part of a system, a manipulation pipeline. Diddy allegedly used Stevie's presence, his industry credibility, to convince others that this was normal, that this was the price of success. Imagine thinking you're entering a studio session and walking into a trap instead. And Stevie, whether willingly or not, became a face that normalized the behavior, a bridge between Diddy and the up-and-coming talent he wanted to mold. This wasn't just exploitation, it was marketing. Diddy leveraged Stevie J's name, his influence, his image, to make everything seem legitimate. But now that image is cracked, and the cracks are letting the truth bleed through. Lil Rod's lawsuit didn't just peel back the curtain. It ripped it down and set it on fire. And behind that curtain was a machine that's now eating its own. If you thought this story couldn't get darker, think again. Because just when the focus was all on Stevie and Diddy's alleged schemes, Faith Evans, Biggie's widow, stepped into the spotlight with a whisper that could change everything. Sources close to the investigation say Faith allegedly told Stevie something chilling. Biggie knew Diddy wanted him dead. And if that's true, then this isn't just a legal case anymore. It's a cold-blooded betrayal wrapped in millions of dollars, hidden contracts, and a trail of bodies. Let's talk motive, because in every real-life thriller, there's a motive. Biggie was sitting on a gold mine, $250 million worth of publishing rights and master recordings. The kind of fortune that makes friends turn into enemies. And who stood to benefit the most if Biggie was out of the picture? Sean Diddy Combs. Behind the scenes, the tension was building. Biggie had started questioning his contract. He wanted control, ownership, independence. And according to industry insiders, Diddy wasn't having it. The bad boy empire couldn't survive without its crown jewel. So removing that jewel might have become the ultimate power move. But here's the part that makes your stomach turn. Faith didn't come forward to the public. She allegedly confided in Stevie J, her then lover and later husband. Why? Maybe guilt, maybe fear, or maybe because she believed Stevie already knew the truth and was protecting someone who didn't deserve it. And now, years later, with the feds circling and lawsuits dropping like bombs, Stevie's silence isn't loyalty anymore. It's liability. Faith's revelation could be the missing puzzle piece that ties a decades-old murder to a modern-day criminal empire. People always say Diddy never recovered from Biggie's death. But what if the truth is even darker? What if he didn't lose his best friend? He orchestrated his final days. Long before the fateful night of March 9th, 1997, when Biggie was gunned down in L.A., there was another attempt on his life, one most people have never heard about. A masked gunman, cloaked in black and moving with eerie precision, ambushed Biggie outside a New Jersey studio. Shots rang out. Chaos. But Biggie survived. Here's what makes it disturbing. This wasn't after Tupac's death. No, this was before. Before the so-called East Coast, West Coast war fully exploded. So if this wasn't about revenge, what was it? Witnesses at the time said it looked too professional. Not some random street beef. Not a fan gone rogue. No robbery. Just a hit, and a failed one at that. Biggie was spooked. He moved different after that. More security. More paranoia. He even started talking about getting out. Leaving Bad Boy. Going independent. And that's when the clock started ticking. Because once Biggie left, Diddy would have lost everything. His flagship artist, his profits, and, according to insiders, his leverage over the industry. So was that first failed hit just a warning? A message? Or was it the first domino in a deadly plan that ended with Biggie's assassination? When you connect the dots, one thing becomes clear. Someone wanted Biggie gone long before the public beef with Tupac ever made headlines. And whoever it was wasn't going to stop until the job was finished. Now, if you thought that was all just speculation, enter Uncle Ron. A former bodyguard in Diddy's inner circle, Uncle Ron came forward with allegations that shook the internet and had federal investigators raising eyebrows. According to Ron, Diddy didn't just celebrate Biggie's death, he allegedly orchestrated it. Ron claimed that Diddy offered him $30,000 to carry out a hit on Biggie. That's not speculation. That's a direct accusation. A murder-for-hire plot with a price tag and a paper trail. Why? Because Biggie was planning to leave Bad Boy for good. He was working on a new album, Life After Death, and insiders say he wanted out. He'd seen how Tupac was moving at death row, independently, powerfully, and he wanted the same. But for Diddy, that wasn't just bad business. That was devastating. With Biggie gone, Diddy stood to gain everything, from royalties to masters to publishing rights valued in the hundreds of millions. So when Uncle Ron said, "I turned it down, but someone else didn't," the implications were massive. He wasn't just naming names. He was confirming suspicions that have haunted hip-hop for over 2 decades. And that brings us back to Stevie J. Why now? Why flip? Why cooperate? Sources close to the investigation believe Stevie didn't come clean out of guilt, but out of self-preservation. The feds allegedly found evidence tying him to things far more serious than just being a bystander. That immunity deal? It wasn't a gift. It was a trade. Testimony for freedom. We're told Stevie may have already sat down with prosecutors. Off the record. Under oath. And what he gave them might be the missing link between Lil Rod's lawsuit, Biggie's death, and Diddy's entire alleged criminal empire. Because if Stevie J, Diddy's right-hand man, the one who was there through the rise of Bad Boy, through the scandals, the parties, the studio sessions, if he's turning, then no one is safe. The question now is, who's next? We're hearing whispers of other insiders being subpoenaed. Former producers, ex-lovers, even family members. And with each new witness, the walls around Diddy get a little tighter. So buckle up, because this isn't just about lawsuits or settlements anymore. This is about a house of cards that's finally collapsing, and the men who built it scrambling to survive. And if Stevie's flipping, you better believe someone else is next.